So in this week's episode, Doug Thornton, Mondo Gonzales, and I are going to explore what I believe to be a serpent mound in the middle of a lake in north central Arkansas.
You know, it's great that there's shade down here too, so you're not just getting baked.
So after a good home-cooked meal at my mother and stepfather's house, we got on the ATV, headed to the other side of the mountain to get a view of the mound from the bluff.
Here we go, we're rock and rolling. Doug? Back a little bit.
So on Google Earth earlier, I showed you this mountain and the contour. How everything's smooth, and then you get to this place where we're standing right now. It's just a sharp point, as if it is pointing to something, which is what we're going to look at. It's out in the water here. Let's take a compass reading right quick, and let's see if this point is it pretty much east. I don't know where the exact point is. We'll have to walk out there. Where's east?
East is going to be directly that way.
Okay, that's about where this point is pointing. So that's significant to me, maybe. That's the rising of the sun. And if this point points to that, and it also points to this island out here, then that's another piece of the puzzle that we can put together maybe. And there has been artifacts found on this island, so I'm sure they're possible to have been some kind of ritualistic stuff going on here, but we're going to get in the boat a little bit later, go down there and check it out.
Alright, Brent, so here we are at the point. And we're looking through these two trees, and you can see the Snake Island out there, a little bit over there, but we're going to zoom in. And we're going to see the pyramid over there, and what we recognized from here, directly towards that pyramid, is directly east. So we were discussing that if we were here this morning, it's about, what, the 25th or something of September? But if we were here this morning, the sun would be rising just above that pyramid looking. Actually, that pyramid would be pointing directly at the sun.
So this point that we're on is actually pointing toward that pyramid and that so-called serpent mound out there.
Yep, the Serpent Mound's a little bit offset, but it's pointing directly. Again, if that water was a little bit more shallow, it'd be pointing over the Serpent Mound too.
Okay.
You know, if the water is down a little bit.
The head of the serpent would be on the left side.
Yeah, so it would be pointing right at that.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's pretty amazing.
So we're going to be visiting this place next. This is where the cliff points to the east. This is where artifacts are found. Hopefully we'll find more out there.
You get the outhouse.
Yeah.
get to this because it's underwater most of the year. Yeah. But on the other side, I found a couple of arrowheads on the beach. And then the storm cellar is right in the middle of the bushes up there. There used to be a house there back before they built this lake.
Okay, where do you want to put the other one, up front here?
Yeah, just do it close. Just like drop it straight down. Tie it close.
On this side?
Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so now we are standing on what we were calling the Serpent Mound. And earlier, when we were filming, we were on top of the mountain looking down at this island. And so we were good.
Hey Brent, hey, if you get in and drive it, I'll meet you wherever you want me to.
Well,
That ladder's still down, by the way.
okay, let me go ahead.
Where do you want us to go?
So earlier we were up on top of this mountain and we were looking down upon this island, which we are hoping that maybe we can prove that this is a serpent mound. It actually looks like a serpent mound. We're going to try to get some headings, do some measurement, see if we can find out what's going on here. We know that right now we're facing south. This thing's facing almost due north. So we've already checked that, but we want to see if there's anything else that we can find to key in on to see if, I know there's been artifacts found here because I've personally found some here. So this thing's underwater most of the year. Right now it's exposed, so it's a good time to get out here and look around. And let Mondo recap a little bit about what we talked about, what we could see over these trees over here.
Yeah. So being up on the bluff, we were looking directly east.
Right.
And over that, what we were connecting was directly east, right to the front of, to the north of this, what we would call maybe the front of the Serpent head.
Right.
It points directly east towards that pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to see if there's some connections with the other tops, like the pyramid peak that we had there versus the bluff versus what we have here.
Right.
See if there's any other connections, which would lead us to maybe look a little harder or a little bit more detailed for, again, as you said, some other interesting intentional alignments.
Right. All right, let's look around. All right, so this is a storm cellar. It's probably built in the 30s or 40s. This was built before the lake was actually put in here. This lake was established in 1953. And so oftentimes you find that places that were suitable for Native Americans or ancient people to settle at were in later times also suitable for Europeans to settle at. And naturally these people came in. This was a good place to settle. There was some fertile farm ground on both sides of us over here, and so this was a hill that you could put your house on and overlook your property. And this is a storm cellar because it's common to have tornadoes here in this area. So lots of people still yet to this day have storm cellars in their yard, and this is one that's left over from the 30s and 40s. All right, so we've only been on this island a few minutes now. We've already picked up some artifacts. This is called a hammerstone. There's an indention on both sides. I don't know if you'll be able to tell it with the camera,
See the
but
shadow.
there's an indention on both sides. So this is a stone that was repeatedly used like this for breaking hickory nuts or you know, grinding maybe berries or making paint. And this would be the platform by which they would place a pecan or a hickory nut on and break it. So there's an indention here. They might mix herbal medicines or mix stuff for paint. They would use this like this, and that's why this indention, this concave
one here
piece
too.
there, looks like them works on there
Like a
too.
double, yeah.
And a lot of times they're on both sides. I don't think this one is. Can you feel anything on this side?
No, I don't see anything.
All right. So we've only been here a few minutes, so there's evidence that there's ancient people living here.
And then we found this.
And then we've got this, which is a piece of navarculite, which is the material which they would make spear points, arrowhead points, you know, projectile points with. Doug just found this right where we're standing here, so we know we're in the right spot. We're on the highest point of this section of the mound, which would be a good place to camp. You could see people coming. If your enemy was coming upon you, you could see them all the way around. The creek would have been down this way, and then the river would have been this way, so it would be on a high place that was close to water, which is typically where natives would camp. So that's what we're finding so far.
A little bit of a walk down to your water source. Right. That's good.
So we formed a theory on this site, and we went out and tested it. And although we didn't come up with anything definite, there was some things that lined up. We stood on an arrow-shaped bluff that pointed to the east, which pointed toward the head of the Serpent Mound and also pointed toward a pyramid-shaped mountain in the background. The arrow pointing toward the solstice alignment, the snake effigy, and the pyramid-shaped mountain all play a role in ancient pagan rituals. And the fact that we found artifacts on the island proved that there was human occupation there at one time. Many ancient sites throughout the United States have symbology and alignment such as what we found today. So we can conclude that it's most probable that the things that we observe today didn't happen by a random chance, but instead was part of a belief system of a culture that lived here long ago. Now, hold on, I'll straighten it up. I need to go back? Do I need to go back? Go forward? I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and if you did, give us a like and a subscribe, and share it with a friend, and we'll see you next week.